Good evening to everyone. My name is Woody B. Thomas. I've been a resident of Ohatchee all my life. I was born and raised here. I have Ohatchee at my heart. I have volunteered as a reserve police officer, and I have worked diligently to see that Ohatchee grow. And that's one thing I would love to see. I don't want to see it grow where you're crowded out, but I would love to see more business come in. And I've heard a lot of talk about a sewage system, and I know somebody's going to ask a question about it, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Mr. Baswell.
Good evening, everyone. I appreciate y'all all coming out. I'd like to tell the Anniston Star, the Chamber, how much we appreciate y'all putting this together for the first ever forum in Ohatchee that I'm aware of. It's an opportunity that we really appreciate. Also want to thank our principal, Mr. Bobby Tittle, and the assistant principal, Mr. Chris Hayes, and the school staff for being able to put this on one of their busiest days of the year, which is the first day of school. So those people I know had a tough day, so we appreciate them participating in this too. I don't think I have to introduce myself to most of you folks. You all know me and my wife. Our family's been here going back 2 or 3 generations, just like a lot of you people I see out there. We love Ohatchee, and that's why we're here. If it wasn't for that, there's other things that we can do with our time. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of good questions. We look forward to answering them, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Baswell. Mr. Robertson.
Good evening. I am Joey Robertson. I was Ohatchee's mayor from 1984 to 2008. The main reasons I'm running again is because of the number of requests I got, and because I also want to get Ohatchee moving forward again. During the years as mayor, I brought businesses, jobs, recreation, cable vision, senior center, public library, a lot of other things to Ohatchee. There are also a lot of water lines run and a lot of them replaced. There's also a lot of streets paved during that time. If elected again, I will strive to bring new businesses and jobs to Ohatchee, and I intend to revive interest in the industrial park, and with that, a sewer system. I will work to promote more tourism in Ohatchee by taking advantage of our natural resources and the history we have here. I will also work on the appearance of the town, including the streets and roads. In addition, I will work on the needs of our senior citizen center, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Robertson. Mr. Lance.
I believe everybody knows my name. I've been in this community for 33 years. I've been in business here. I am now retired. I have plenty of time for the town of Ohatchee to carry it forward. Appreciate it.
Well, one of my priorities would be to clean up the city. Start at the bottom and work our way up to the top. You can drive down any one of our streets here now. Limbs is hanging from one side of the road to the other side, which that is a hazard. And everyone is talking about a sewage. We're gonna have to go down the state highway. And within the next 10 years, Ohatchee is gonna be a 4-lane highway. And that's gonna be money that we're gonna waste right there. Cause first we need to clean up what we got, take care of what we got, get the roads and things fixed, keep our grass cut, look like a small town. So see, you can have a sewage and anything else you want, and when people come by, if they look and see a beautiful little town, and they think that they can raise their children here, and we got a good school, and so I think Those are the things that I would be working on right there. Cleaning up our city, thought at the bottom, seeing, about doing other things for the city. So there's so many things that can be done that I can't name them all right now. But we have plenty of work to do here with the city of Ohatchee. And I just want to say that if I become mayor, I'm gonna work hard to get these things done.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Mr. Baswell, same question for you. What are your 3 priorities if elected mayor?
I think our top 3 priorities will be to continue what we've been doing for the past 4 years and making sure we make sound financial decisions for the town. You can't do all these other things. You can't pave roads, you can't cut grass, you can't do anything if you don't have funds available to do it. So it's imperative that we do take our budget and look at it carefully and manage it in the most useful way we can to support our citizens. And that, it ties into other things. I want to continue to work closely with the Economic Development Council and other agencies to bring more businesses to Ohatchee. That's a common goal, everybody has that. It's not an easy thing to do. You can't go out and force people to put a business in your town. But you do have to stay out there and keep working. And to that end, in fact, I've got a meeting, I go to most of the Economic Development Council meetings. Make sure we're represented there, make sure they know that we're interested. We do have our first business in our industrial park now. Griffin Technologies moved down there a few months ago, and that's a start. Small start maybe, but it's a start. Things will happen down there in time. But in fact, I've got a meeting Wednesday afternoon with the chairman of the board of Coosa Valley, their president, their representative that works with the Rural Electric Association in Economic Development. So we're going to be looking at ways that we can, and Don Hopper from the Economic Development Council will be there also. So we're looking at ways and what we can do to try to entice more businesses into our industrial park. It's important to us. One thing that everybody touched on that I really want to emphasize is we'd like to provide more support to our school. We've done some things the last year, and we're able to contribute some funds to them this past year. We want to continue to do that and do it at a bigger scale. But remember, for everything you do here, it's got to come from somewhere else. So council's got to make decisions, and we've got to do the best we can with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baswell. Mr. Robertson, same question for you. What are your 3 priorities if elected mayor?
Well, my 3 priorities will be to bring more businesses to Ohatchee. I also want to revive the interest in the Senior Citizen Center. I also want to work on the appearance of the town. It's been mentioned up here already that all of those things need to be done, and you have to know how to go about doing it. I know most of you remember that the industrial park was started many years ago when I was the mayor. I'm on the board of directors with an individual that's on the Economic Development Council. I've already talked to him about the importance of getting infrastructure in that park. If we don't get lights and water and a good road, it's not going to look attractive to people that's riding by, industry officials. Now, earlier it was mentioned about smokestack industry. No, I don't think that's for us either. The light industry, that's what we need in that park. It will create jobs. Our senior center seems to have dwindled. I don't know why. I'd like to get in there and get it going again. Got to work hard to get businesses, and as mentioned, it's hard to do, but you got to get out and be on the trail every day working, trying to recruit. If I get elected, I'll work as hard as I can to do that. I work hard on the appearance of the town. Looks like we need to clean up, fix up. That's been mentioned already, but it's something that really needs doing. So I work as hard as I can if you elect me mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Robertson. Mr. Lance, what would be your top 3 priorities if elected for mayor?
One of my main priorities, just like everybody else, clean up the town. Pride is contagious. if you keep your own yard up and down the street like I do, you run Hart Fair Road, it's mowed like a yard. The city don't do it, I do. I expect the city to look that way everywhere if I get elected. As far as the industrial side, there's a problem down there. The problem can be fixed, and it can be carried forward. As far as sewage, we're going to have to do something. We have trouble at the town hall, we have trouble at the library, we have trouble with senior citizens. That's got to be fixed. And it don't have to be real expensive. Septic tanks work, it's the field lines that don't. We just need to treat the water.
I don't know who the individual is that didn't get their grass cut in 3 years. Because what we normally try to do, and it's, from what I understand, is what we've done in the past. It's more like pretty much in line with what the county does on rural roads everywhere. We can't come out and manicure roadsides like a lawn. People, that's just cost prohibitive. We do try to cut them for safety purposes and keep things from looking too bad. But, you know, you fight weather, you fight breakdowns in equipment, you fight people problems. You know, your operator may not be here when you're planning on getting a certain thing done today, and you just have to keep workarounds. And so to that end, we've hired temporary people to do nothing but drive the big tractor to cut the roadways, and we're making progress on it. This is the second time we've cut this year. We are behind, and but we're trying to catch up. But normally we do get around at least 3 times a year to cut all the roadways. But it's a struggle sometimes to keep up with it, especially here recently when it's been raining. Everybody's grass is growing like crazy, and then you have flat tires on your tractor, and then you have water mains burst, and you have to pull people off the tractor cutting grass to fix the water mains, and it's a juggling act. But we'll do a better job. We can do a better job. We've tried to do a better job of getting down to the baseball park, helping get that back into shape. After the end of the season, they sort of pulled off of that, and we had to go down there and pick up a little bit of slack there. Do want to commend Chad Snow and that baseball program down there. He's done a super job. We love to work with those folks. And we will take care of your grass cutting. We have cleaned up the town, the whole town. We keep it cut around all of our major buildings. And you'll notice they all usually look good. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Baswell. Mr. Robertson, same question for you. And that question being, if elected mayor, what would you do to clean up the city, maybe change the perception that some of the city's areas are not being properly managed?
Well, 2 things. One thing I'll do is hire 1 or 2 more maintenance people, because one person cannot keep up grass cutting, fixing potholes, and other things that have to be done by the city's maintenance personnel, town's personnel. Secondly, one thing we used to do is we used inmates. I can't think of a better, cheaper source of labor. We had policemen living in Anniston that could pick them up in the morning, bring them out here. All the town had to do was pay for lunch. In the afternoon, the policemen were going back to Anniston anyway, so all they did was drop them off. So I would revive that program. Is the second thing I would do to try to work on the appearance of the town. Not beyond asking individuals to get involved. We have had clubs. We had the Lions Club back a few years ago, and individuals that pick up litter. PALS, state program. Try to institute some of these volunteer programs for people that's interested. So that's the ways I would do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robertson. Mr. Lance, same question for you. What would you do if elected mayor to clean up the city and change the perception that some of the areas are not being maintained?
There's not many communities that does not have a beautification board. If we could form one of those, get the right people involved, like I said earlier, pride is contagious. If you have the people wanting their yard and their front of their house to look better, they're gonna get out there and help. Plus, we need the right equipment and the right employees. We can't do it with a piece of equipment that's not designed to do what we need. I've got my own equipment, and it's not expensive equipment. You just need somebody who wants to do it and knows how.
Thank you, Mr. Lance. Mr. Thomas, same question for you.
Well, one of the first things I would do, I would hire more employees. You cannot take a man that's cutting grass and a water line bust, and he has to stop and fix the water line and keep grass cut too. We need at least 3 to 4 people working at all times. 2 cutting grass, 2 seeing about the water, and that way we can keep the paper picked up, the beer can. You might notice, you come down to where there's a beautiful community, people's gonna come out and that's where they're gonna throw their beer bottles and their beer cans out, where you keeping it clean. And so you're gonna have to go out there and pick it up. But I don't expect an employee to stop doing what he have to do to come and pick up paper around my house. So I get out there and I do it myself. So we got to take pride in our city. We got to hire people that's going to work instead of going somewhere parking up under a shade tree and waiting until the end of the shift and then come in. We do have some good workers, I have to say that. And the one that's working now, I would do everything I can to keep them there if I'm elected mayor. Make him a supervisor. And so I hope you all remember that when it's time to vote.
Thank you, Mr.
Well, I put a lot of emphasis on working with the Chamber of Commerce and the Anniston Star to promote Ohatchee's natural resources a lot more than they do now, because they don't pay much attention to us. Never have, really, but it can be done. We just have to get after them. There's other ways, too. There's state magazines that has to do with tourism, even national. There's online places you can go to look and learn about tourism. I promote that. And everywhere I go personally, I promote Ohatchee and its history and what we have out here. And I just can't believe that all these years it's been overlooked to the last few years. And now it's getting a lot of attention, and we need to act on that. We need to not only promote it, but it's a revenue producer for the town too. So we need to take advantage of it. And I'll do everything possible, basically working with the chamber and other municipalities. You know, we have the River Scenic Trail, comes right through Ohatchee on the Coosa, things like that. And, you know, we just don't talk about it enough. But I'll work hard on those things if I'm elected. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robertson. Mr. Lance, same question for you. What would you do to use the natural resources of the city to attract more tourism?
Janie Furnace is a great development. Eli Henderson has brought it a long ways, and I'm afraid we're going to lose his help. But we need to get it as a city and get on board and help produce it totally. The biggest thing here we're missing out on is the people's right to fish. We need to produce the fishing. If we got to get somebody or businesses to develop fishing tournaments, all that brings people into the town, bring revenue with it. They're going to buy bait, they're going to buy Cokes, they're going to go to Jack's, and we're going to have to come on top of all this and be on top of it and make it work better than it ever has. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lance. Mr. Thomas, same question for you.
Well, one thing I would do to bring into it, we have all that land over there. Usually like Chillibird use the solar cabinet down there. Once a year, they have the Cherokee Indian, all of them come in, and you'd be surprised how many people come down just to see the Native Indians perform and everything. So we have a lot here that can draw people. But first thing we got to do, we got to promote it. And there's a right way to promote something, and it's a wrong way. You ever notice something, you don't have that many blacks coming to Jamie Furnace. That's the reason why. And we need to have everyone coming, black, white, Chinese, don't matter what nationality. What we're looking for is build our city up and bring tourism in, and that's revenue coming into our city. And I would tell anybody that we have a wonderful little city here. Jack stay busy all the time. We need some other business in here to challenge Jack. We have one of the best intersections, 77 and 144, that need to be built up, and everything. We need more restaurants, and we need more business on 144 and 77.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Mr. Baswell, same question. What would you do to use the natural resources of the city to increase tourism?
Well, as everybody said, Commissioner Eli Henderson's done a great job developing Janey Park over there. But as Mr. Thomas says, it sometimes may only appeal to a certain group of tourists, if you will, and others are excluded from that. It's a beautiful park, and it's a great place for our local people to go also. I would like to see it being one of the features out here, not as our primary feature out here. What I'd really like to see, if we could ever get it going, is if we can get our old town square spiffed up a little bit and start maybe a flea market there on a Saturday, get people coming to it and maybe turn it into some kind of arts and crafts show. Now, arts and crafts people don't like to show up at flea market type things. I found that out talking to our arts and crafts people, and it's amazing how many truly talented people we have in this Ohatchee area if you get out there and get to talking to them. They make some beautiful things here locally, and they take them to all these other trade shows to sell their stuff. So we can do a better job here, and senior citizens do a lot of handcrafts over there, and they need a venue to get that out to the public. So if we can get people coming out to one thing, and then have Janey Park and other things, the museum over there, we need to do something with our old town hall over there. It's practically the only historic building we have in Ohatchee. It used to be the train depot. A lot of us remember. A lot of us have caught trains there when we were young. But that thing's going to need to do something with it. So we need to turn it into some kind of museum or community center or something that we could have events at and people come to, and we'll need public restrooms, and that would be a place we could do that. So there's more to tourism than just one facet of it. So we got to look for everything we've got out here and get people coming to see all the things we have instead of just one thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
There's areas with Ohatchee, of course, that's going to be the corridor down 77 and 144, that may be helped by some zoning, but a blanket zoning would be pushing people down their throat. And the people of Ohatchee don't want that. We will have to work around it. But the zoning is a bad word. There's people out here that want Ohatchee to stay like Ohatchee is. They don't want it to be made into a smokestacks, like you say. I don't go along with the zoning part.
Thank you, Mr. Lance. Mr. Thomas, same question for you. What's your opinion on zoning for Ohatchee?
Well, zoning would not work out here in Ohatchee because of one thing, of the grandfather clause law. We have people here that have been raising cows and raising chickens and things as their livelihood. And if you go into zoning, that's gonna cut a lot of that out. And you take away someone's livelihood, you're gonna make some people mad. And no, I do not go along with zoning under no circumstances. But if we were to go into zoning, the grandfather clause law falling out, and we'll save the people that already have the cows and things like that. But no, I don't go along with the zoning law whatsoever.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Mr. Baswell, what are your thoughts on the zoning where Ohatchee is concerned?
Well, I was asked that question this past week when I was out calling on people in the community, asking for their vote for this election. And my reply was, when somebody can bring me a petition signed by 60% of the voters of Ohatchee saying that they want zoning in Ohatchee, then I think we should consider looking at it. But for me personally, it's not the mayor and the council's job to sit down there and dictate to people so much what they need to be doing and how they need to be doing it out here. It's our job to take the ideas and the thoughts that you people have and your desires and what you want this town to be and where you want it to go, and do you need zoning in certain areas? You tell us, and it's our job to see if we can implement that to serve you people. It's not for us to sit up there. We're not always the smartest people in the world. We need everybody thinking, everybody's ideas coming in, so that then we as a council can do our jobs and do what you people want us to do. And that's where I am. Personally, some areas zoning may benefit the whole blanket area. It probably wouldn't, but these people don't want it. You talk to them, I say, well, you live in a nice house here. How would you feel if somebody put a trailer in right across, 1957 Magnolia trailer, one of them old ones? He said, well, that's their business. I put up a fence so I don't have to look at it. I said, well, that's your way of handling zoning, I guess. So more power to you. But that's where I am on zoning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baswell. Mr. Robertson, same question for you. What are your thoughts on zoning for Ohatchee?
Well, as most of you know, we tried a zoning thing a few years ago, and it didn't fly. I'm the type of guy that I learned from things, and the majority of people didn't seem to be in favor of it, so that's fine with me. I think there are areas that would benefit from it, and when we were trying to do it before, I think a lot of it was misunderstood. We weren't trying to penalize anybody with cows or mules or what have you. What we were trying to do was get business and industry in one area somewhere. But anyway, people didn't seem to be in favor of it, and that was fine with me. And as far as I go, I won't bring it up again. If people, a lot of people come forward to the council requesting it, I think we should listen to them, have a public hearing, and see how large a majority would be interested in it. Otherwise, I wouldn't go for it. And I won't bring it up myself. That's my stance on it.
Thank you, Mr. Robertson.
There's so many things in Ohatchee that we have not got. Over the years, we've just missed it. Might have been because the wrong people was looking at it the wrong way. It might have been the people wasn't just for it. But we've got to grow. And the only way we're going to grow, we're going to have to get the corridor, especially on 77, ready for business. We can't operate without having taxes. Sales tax, we need to triple it. And the only way we're going to be able to do it is fix the corridor. where we can bring in more businesses that can be profitable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lyons. Mr. Thomas, you have 60 seconds to make a closing statement.
Well, one thing I'm gonna say that we need here bad is some for our young people. Our young people that they don't have a thing in the world to do but play baseball, football, basketball, the same thing every year. We need to build something that our young children can enjoy as well as us older people. But we got to bring something in that our children can feel safe at. I don't feel safe at sending my child to Gaston, to something, or to Anniston or something. I will have them here at home, and I will feel safe with them being here at home. So that's one thing I will stand on. We need something for our young people here in Ohatchee.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Mr. Baswell, your closing statements for us tonight.
I just want to say that, these last 4 years have been a good 4 years for me. I think it's been good for the town. We've made a lot of progress in a lot of areas, and we're going to continue to do that. We're a little behind on the grass cutting. That's the worst thing people can come up with, and I think we're in pretty good shape overall. But we will work on that also. But the thing that we need in Ohatchee is we got to make sure that the people, you people, do a good job of selecting the leaders for the next 4 years, because it's going to be important to us. This next council and mayor is going to have to start making decisions, because now we're generating revenue that we can use to do some of these things y'all been talking about you want done. If you don't have money, you can't do it. So we're starting due to a lot of things, we're starting to generate revenue that we can use for these things. So we're going to start thinking about it, making decisions on how best to manage these assets, and how do the people want these assets used, and what do we dedicate the most time and effort to. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Baswell. Thank you. Mr. Robertson, your closing remarks.
I would just ask that you all remember where we were in 1984. Our budget was about $200,000. When I left office in 2008, it was over $1 million. That's due to revenue coming in from the businesses that were brought in during that time. If you remember back, we didn't have a Jack's, we didn't have a Dollar General, we didn't have a lot of things done in the shopping center. Everybody's touched on the need for more businesses and revenue, and it's true, you can't operate without revenue. We're going to have to continue to try to bring in more businesses to up our revenue, and getting the industrial park going with a sewer line on 77 and 144 area, that's vitally important. So I would go along with those thoughts as well, and I'll work hard to try to get more things in Ohatchee if elected. Thank you. Thank you all for coming out.
Thank you, Mr.